All right. Welcome to Super Sunday, ladies. We are so excited to spend the day with you, kicking off your 2022 in a big way. And I don't know about you, but we have been very excited for our top secret, super stoked opening speaker. Can you guys give a huge welcome to our CEO, Chris Ciccanelli?
What's up, everybody? How we doing?
How's it going, Chris?
Well, hey, listen, I'm super excited about being here, and Happy New Year to everybody that's out there. I'm telling you, getting into 2022, I'm super excited and honored to be to doing this today on a Sunday with you guys.
Well, I'm going to give you full camera, so you take it away.
All right. Hey, listen, how is everybody doing today? I'm hoping that you are ready to get 2022 kicked off exactly the same way I'm ready to get 2022 kicked off. So if you're sitting there, I guarantee you're in probably one of three different chairs. Chair number one, you're probably in that chair of like, hey, listen, 2021 was probably a tale of 2 years, right? Like, oh my gosh, my first part of the year was fantastic. Second half of the year, not so fantastic, right? That was when the pause button was pushed for some of your businesses. It was like, okay, May just happened. All of a sudden, June, people start traveling, people going different places. You're like, oh my goodness, what happened? Or you're in the other chair that you're sit back and you're like, man, 2022 was like really a kind of a good year for me. I did some really good, interesting stuff. I was able to figure out how my business can work differently. I can not just be doing, 40 parties in a month. I can have a little bit more of a harmonized business. I found some really cool things that worked well for me, for my team, for my organization, for maybe my customers. Or you might be in that third chair, which is like, hey, listen, I'm so brand new. I'm not exactly sure what the hell to expect. I'm just here. I got a lot of things that I want to get accomplished for 2022. I want to be able to do some of the things I hear about when you join Pure Romance, which is, you know what? I want to find some great people to be able to hang out with. I want to be able to find some great people to be able to learn from, to find different things that I can put into my life, both personally, professionally, community, philanthropy, whatever it might be, right? So there's so many things for all of us to kind of get ready for a brand new year. All right. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. But I think the big thing that we all have to acknowledge is that 2021 was different than 2020. I mean, none of us expected that what would happen in 2020 we would hockey stick and be up 100%. And if you think about how it ended in 2022 or 2021, we were down 10% from the best year that we've ever had as an organization. So what does that mean? That means there were some people that did really, really well and some people that were like, hey, listen, we were running our business. Things didn't kind of materialize the way we want them. Or, hey, listen, this was kind of our game plan that we were going to run and we stuck with it. So as you're getting into a brand new year and as you're getting into something that's going to be even more kind of prosperous, good, whatever it might be for you, I think we got to talk about a couple of things. I hear so many people as they get into a brand new year start talking about goal setting. How many of you right now have already started writing down your goals? I guarantee you that there are people that have sat back and thought about exactly what it is that they want to get accomplished. They put it on their mirror, they put it in their steering wheel, they put it inside their car, they put it maybe in their cubicle at their office, whatever it might be. They've started thinking about it. Now, there's a group of people out there that says, you know what, hey, I'm not quite sure what I want to get accomplished. I'm not quite sure what it is that I want to get for next year. And that's okay too. I think as you go through today and as you start hearing different people, if it's different panels, talk about what some of their successes have been, you'll start kind of figuring out exactly what you want to get inside of this business, what you would like to get from a personal and a professional piece. But I think it's important, right? I think the biggest thing when you go into goal setting, it's important. People are going to say, oh my gosh, you got to talk about what is your family goal? You got to talk about having a career goal. You got to have a spiritual goal. You got to have a financial goal. You have to have a social goal, physical goal, intellectual goal. All of those are great. And there's probably somebody that's going to be talking about goal setting today. There'll probably be something that you'll hear over the next couple of weeks, even if it's kind of tuning into Live, Love, Win, or Live Alive that's going to be on this Tuesday. There's going to be people that are going to be talking about it. But I think before you understand setting goals having an emotional reason for those goals are important. But before you even think about goals, right? Because you're going to have these goals that you're going to go after. I think a lot of people forget to do the one most important thing, which is I think people forget to set their standards. What do I mean by standards? What are the standards in which you're going to operate? Because what you'll find is a lot of people will maybe 50% of people will hit their goals, right? You'll hit some goals and some goals you won't hit. You'll maybe supersede the goals you went out there set. And sometimes you'll fall really, really short from those goals. But one thing I will tell you that if you put in place, you'll never miss is your standards. The standards of how you're going to operate in 2022. You're all business owners, right? You all got into this. You're all doing something interesting by going out there and running your own business, being able to go out there and create your own path. The good parts and the bad parts about this, right? You get to make as much as you choose to make, right? As you put in, you get to go as far as you want to go. Everybody gets the same keys, the same vehicle, but you have to put in more fuel. You have to attend trainings like this. You have to attend events that are happening inside the organization. If it's Rise and Grind, if it's Live Alive, or if it's, your local team meeting or coming here today, all of those things are important. They put more fuel into your gas tank, into your business, into where you're going. Your standards are just as important. How are you going to operate? Because at the end of the day, you might have a party that cancels. You might have, something happen that you weren't expecting. But your standards are something you can always control. Number one is this. Think about this. My standards are this. I want to make sure that I'm always transparent. Being transparent, being truthful, committing, and making sure you got clear communication with your customers, with your teams, with your family, with the people that are supporting you. I think there is a big, huge thing that helps with your foundation with all of those people by being transparent, by making sure that that is going to be your number one thing that you're going to go out and you're saying, hey, my standard is I'm always going to be upfront with you. I'm always going to make sure that I be truthful. I'm going to speak very clear to you. I'm going to tell you things that maybe sometimes you might not like, but I'm going to give you the things that will help you grow. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to always make sure that I am doing that on the right basis for you. The second thing is this, is think about your integrity, right? Integrity. This is something that you have to understand. Sticking with your decision, man, this is the hardest thing as any business owner. Sticking with your decisions, especially when you're being pressured to do otherwise. Meaning, you got to figure out what this business and how this business works for you. Your standards are your standards. If you sit back and say, hey, listen, I'm going to do 5 parties a month, that's your standards. You're going to stick with it. That is what you're going to go out there and do. Your decision was, I'm going to go do this. And you got to make sure that that is spoke to your family. It spoke to your team. It spoke to the people that need to hear this from you, that, hey, this is my standard. I'm going to do this every month. I'm also going to do things because here's what's going to happen. When you tell your family that you're going to do these 5 parties, or you're going to do the different things or different events, or your friends know that this is your business, right? And all of a sudden they're like, hey, listen, Susie, we're going to go out, we're going to take a 3-day vacation. And you've got parties to get booked. You have business to get done. You're going to have this sense of FOMO that's going to catch up with you and be like, man, I really want to go with my friends, but I also set my standards for my business and for my family. I promised that we'd put more money away in our bank account. I promised that we'd have different things for our family. I promised that we'd always take that vacation that was out there, making sure that we're living and making sure we're enjoying our lifestyle. That's a standard for you. That integrity of what you speak out to people and what you tell them is going to be hugely important. The other thing too is being this, trustworthy. Making sure that you're trustworthy, making sure that you're keeping your promise and you're fulfilling your commitment to your partners, which are your family is your number one partner. Right? You know that right away, that your family, yesterday was Max's birthday. Well, my fulfilled promise was, hey, we're going to go watch UC play, down in Dallas. Not a good showing, but we played, and then we came back for birthday. He had 8 of his friends over. I was tired. I didn't want to go to the basketball game last night, but I went because you know what? I told him, hey, listen, I have to keep my promise. I said, hey, buddy, we're going to end up going. I had 3 espresso shots to make sure I could get through it. But keeping your promise and keeping your promise to your family, keeping your promise to your team, keeping your promise to the people out there. If you bring somebody into the business, this is the most important thing. Making sure that you're trustworthy enough to say, hey, I'm going to be there with you. I'm going to support you. But I also want to make sure that you're going to speak transparent to this person and say, listen, you've got to also show up as well. I'm going to show up for you every day. I'm going to give you everything I can. I'm going to lay out the buffet of information. I'm going to give you as much as I possibly can, but you're the person that's got to go out there and choose what you take from the buffet. You got to be the person that decides what it is that you want. We as leaders have to understand right away, we cannot make anybody do. We can only make people think, right? We can't make them do anything, but I can sure is this, be truthful, have my integrity with them, and be transparent with them all up front is an important piece. Loyalty. Biggest thing is if you set a standard of loyalty, which all of us probably should do, that is this. This encompasses everything in the relationship of business. If we're out there and we're being loyal to ourselves, to our teams, to our family, biggest thing that we have to understand, that is going to be how you're going to be judged. You're going to be judged on, hey, are you being honest? Are you being loyal? Are people sticking with you, sticking behind you? Because what you'll find is this, is leadership is not something that's given. Leadership is going to be something that's going to be earned. And what you'll find in your leadership journey, if there are going to be times that people will be loyal to you, there'll be times that people will not be loyal to you. It doesn't matter what others are doing out there. It doesn't matter how, in what direction that they're pulling you or pushing you towards. Remember one thing, you're always loyal to your word, to what you tell people you're going to do, to your customers, to your family. This is a very, very big piece. Don't tell something that you cannot do. Don't put something out there that you cannot perform. Loyalty is a huge, huge piece. Also, so is fairness. Making sure that you're thinking about being fair. Now, when we say fair, it's also, you think about the competitions, because Pure Romance, right? You sit back and this is a hard one to juggle for businesses out there. Being fair is this. When you think about this, leadership should handle everything in a very honorable method. We need to make sure that we're being fair. We're having this open mind of equality, and we're having this open dialogue. And when we think about fairness is this, we're not judging people for who they are, for where they might be coming from, what background or ethnicity, any of that type of stuff. We are looking at each and every person and saying, you know what? We want everybody that's around us to succeed. We want everybody that's around us to be able to have a fair shot to get ahead. The people that are going to put their time in, the people that are going to want another lifestyle here at Pure Romance, we want to make sure that we're giving them. And it's sometimes hard because fairness is this. We look at the numbers that people put up, right? People are always like, man, how do I get a trip? Or it's not fair. I don't have as much time as that other person does in the business. This is where we also have to be fair to ourselves. Now, fairness to ourselves is probably one of the hardest things because we're fair to everybody else. We're always being fair and saying, you know what, we understand that you have a situation. We understand that maybe you can't do that. But the one person we're not fair to is us. I think if you're going to strive for something next year and you're going to put something out on a piece of paper from a goal, from your standards, from whatever it might be, do one thing, be fair. Don't put something on paper that you can't commit to because you know you maybe have other obligations. You maybe have other things that are going on. I think that's where you see so many people beat themselves up is they're like, man, I wish I could do more. I wish I could do more. Well, that means you need to realign some other stuff to make it fair for yourself to compete. You have to make it fair for yourself to be able to get ahead. And I think you have to look back and say, you know, give yourself a little bit of grace this year. Give yourself a little bit of time this year to go after what it is that you want. Be fair to you. Now, that is going to be a really big, hard lesson for a lot of us because we're not that way. We're not built that way. We're not like, man, I gotta think about me first because you are always the second or third or maybe the 10th person to be thought through. But maybe in 2022, if you give yourself a little bit of grace, a little bit of like, hey, you know what? I'm going to be fair to myself this year. I'm going to live a little bit more in a harmonistic lifestyle. I'm going to make sure that I'm doing things on my terms, the way I want to do them. Respect. I think that's the biggest thing that we all want to make sure we go into. A standard that we have to have is when we walk in any room, like today, I understand that I need to be on time. You know, I was told, hey, 10 o'clock, be sharp, don't be late. You got 20 minutes. That's it. Respect those boundaries that people set for you. Respect the fact that if you are supposed to be at a team meeting, you be there on time. Respect that not just respect the people that are holding the team meeting, but everybody else that shows up. I think that is one quality that we have to teach kids early on in life is that, you know what, we need to respect the situation that you're put in, respect the teacher, respect the individual. All of those things are important. But what you have to understand is respect other people's time. And that's one of the biggest things I said. I'm not going to be late to any meetings. That's always been my thing. My mom is always the first one. She said, Pure Romance time is 10 minutes before something starts. That's how she's always operated. Provide excellence. I think that's a big piece. My standards this year is this, and I'm telling you as a CEO, my whole thing, if I have one standard that I'm trying to shoot for this year inside this organization is this, providing excellence. That's going to be my promise, my standard. You're going to hear me saying that over and over and over again. everything that is going on inside this organization, if it's an email, if it's a text message, if it's a contest, if it's a new product, if it's whatever, we've set one mission out for 2022, and that is to make sure everything that we do has excellence behind it. Everything. That's our new standard. That's the standard that we are making sure that we're doing. Yes, we're going to make sure that we go out there with integrity. Yes, we're going to make sure that we go out there and build trust. Yes, we're going to go out there and build loyalty and be fair and all of the different stuff. But the one thing that I will tell you is that when you go through a year and you have to kind of do a self-examination of your own self, of your own business, of where you're going, the one thing that you will find out, and I found this out to be true when I started looking at the business around September of this year, I started finding out that we weren't excellent in certain areas. Then I said, that's not going to work. We built the business off of being in this excellence. We built this business off of making sure that we are progress over perfection. But what we did is when we did the progress, we did it with an excellence in mind. Because at the end of the day, one of my highest and most important standards there are is inspect what you expect to get respect, which means this. One of the standards I think that all of us have to take with our families, our businesses, our teams, is that we have to take responsibility. And that was the big thing that I learned in 2021, moving into 2022. I said, if I'm going to set excellence up here, and I'm going to make sure that everything that we put out is going to be the best product that we can put out. If it's the best email, if it's the best to go out there, and if it's the best when it comes down to Pure 21, which launches tomorrow, or Tuesday, all of those things, I want to make sure it's the best. Then I need to take responsibility, make sure we're checking the things that we say are going to be the best. The other thing too is this, is making sure that we hold accountability. Holding accountability is important. Not just me holding accountability, for myself, but holding my team accountable. I think sometimes as leaders, we slip on that. I don't think sometimes I don't think I did a good job in 2021 of holding people accountable. And that's one of my standards for this year, is holding you accountable for the job and the task that you said you're going to do. And I got to hold myself accountable of having that uncomfortable conversation. Those are the things that I know that to be true, is that my standards are going to be so much more important than my goals. Because if I hold myself to my standards, if I hold myself to doing the right things, if I hold myself to making sure that I'm focused in on that, then the goals will be the byproduct of everything I've done with my standards. I'll hit my goals because I set my standards the right way. I made sure that I was going into this year in a whole new mindset. Because our standards actually are our strategic direction for our business. Our standards are going to be the thing that we can sit back and go, okay, hey, I have this standard that I'm going to go out there and attack. It's important for me to understand that. The other thing is this. What we need to do is think about the things that have worked in our business. What has worked in our business this year? We have to think about what worked in it last year. And write those things down today. If you're sitting here just jotting down and you're listening to a speaker and you're like, man, I did really good in party planning this year. Man, I did really good in onboarding this year. Write the things that you did really well down and do more of it. Make that a standard. Put the things off to the side that you'd like to improve upon. Man, I really like to improve on upselling, making it more experiential for my customers. I just don't want them to buy a product from me. I want them to buy a Disney World package from me, right? I want them to, when they come, I want them to walk away and be like, man, that was the best decision I ever made, was to do business with this person. And sit back and think about the things that, hey, man, I would really like to try this year that I didn't do. Maybe moving up into leadership, maybe moving up into this, or maybe going after, an incentive trip, which we have a bunch of them that we're going to be launching on Tuesday. Think about all the things that you have to get ready for. What are going to be your standards to hit your goals for next year? I wrote the book, The Secret Is You. And I wanted to bring this back up today, which I thought was really important. The reason that this book came into fruition was because I was able to be surrounded by some amazing women business owners. And the one thing that we found out to be true on this whole entire book is about how do we lead ourselves first, so then we can lead others. And that's truly taking a deep dive look in ourselves. But I wouldn't be here today or wrote this book if it wasn't for the thousands of people that have had impressions on me. And that's what happens inside of this group. What happens inside of Pure Romance is magical. We get to meet so many amazing people that have taught me so many amazing things that I was like, look, I want to share this and do this. But I think that the biggest thing that gets down is as you set your standards, as you go out and achieve your goals, remember one most important thing in this whole entire journey of 2022, everything in success is going to be you. You're the key to this whole entire thing. I want you to enjoy the journey today. I want you to have so much fun today. I appreciate the fact that I was able to be asked to be able to join you guys today and to take part. I can't wait to see you guys in person. I hope you tune in to our Live Alive as we get on the road. I know Heather's going to be there and some amazing trainers. So I just want to tell you guys all happy 2022. And I can't wait to see you in the city here soon.
Chris, good morning. Happy Sunday. You took us to church.
Hey, baby, I was ready. I was like, let's go today.
I love it. I'm going to tell you that I was, I've been a little skeptical of all the, people put up posts at the beginning of the year about all the things they're going to do. And I'm more of a realist. And so I tend not to be a first day of the year kind of a person. I like to sit and look. And it is interesting to have a word for your year, right? To kind of keep you focused. But I didn't have one last year, and I struggled in 2021 big time. And then I was like, maybe I don't need a word. This is silly. Why do I need a word? But I'm going to tell you that I think honestly that my word for the year is respect. Yeah. It's respect of self first. I've really started a journey to care for me health-wise, and I think that when you do that it ultimately ends up coming across to your clients and your team and your family, and everything else falls into place. Because if you don't respect yourself, how can you get anybody else to respect you as well? So
totally agree.
Love that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I know you have been traveling and doing for your family and prepping for this launch. So thank you for taking time out of your Sunday morning to jump in and kick us off. And for those of you that are watching, go ahead and take a quick stretch, go through the feelings that you have that he just invoked with his opening, and get ready, because at 10:30, we come back on with how to run this business alongside a full-time job. So even if you don't work a full-time job, you're going to have women on your team that do. So this is an excellent opportunity for you to figure out how these rock stars are doing it and get some tips. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great one and good luck for the rest of the day.
Thanks. Bye.